Hi guys, welcome to my Facebook live stream. Today I am mainly here for you guys. If you've got any questions that you want to ask me about EFT, matrix reimprinting, I also use neuro-linguistic programming in my work, so feel free to quiz me. I am an EFT trainer, so that's kind of my area of expertise, but I use matrix reimprinting as a practitioner, and I use it in pretty much all of my sessions now because it's just a hugely effective tool for releasing trauma and getting to the crux of the matter and really sorting your stuff out. If you don't know anything about me, I'll just start by telling you a little bit about myself and how I got into EFT in the first place. So it was a good few years ago now. I had always had a history of depression, anxiety. I guess I didn't really realise that back then because I was just very much living my life, and I didn't really realise that all the pain that I was carrying around was unnecessary. I didn't realise that it didn't have to be that way. And actually that can be one of the biggest things that I tackle with my clients, is that this idea, hi Hetty, is this idea that they have to be in pain or that they have to struggle, because we get so used to it and we're kind of conditioned into it by society, like, oh, suck it up, get on with it, you know, don't be a crybaby, all that kind of stuff. But actually, whether we're in physical or emotional pain, I have the great news to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way. So I got into EFT about 4 or 5 years ago. It was after suffering quite a traumatic bereavement when a friend of mine committed suicide. My life was pretty uncomfortable. Oh dear. Ooh. Apparently I blipped out for a second there because we've got terrible connection all the way out here in Latakin, Jersey, surrounded by granite and not much else. So when my friend took his own life, my life got pretty unpleasant. I went through a really unpleasant time, just being in the depths of grief and feeling I was just in a lot of pain, really, emotionally. Then my back started to hurt, so I also had the lovely joy of physical pain too. Woohoo! And I went to a chiropractor, and she asked me if I'd suffered any traumas, and I thought, maybe. So I told her about what had happened with my friend, and she suggested that I try this tapping stuff. So I booked in for a session, and before I knew it, I was absolutely hooked. I remember, hi Vicky, I remember sitting in my car after having my first session of EFT, bearing in mind that my life and my brain had been in a really dark space up until this point. I couldn't really, when I left the house, that was difficult, just even being outside. I remember walking around just thinking, oh, how can people just be living their lives and laughing and having so much fun, and I don't really, thanks Vicky. And yeah, it didn't really make sense to me how all these people were walking around in life just fine, you know, like no issues, just happy as Larry, bouncing around the place, all going out drinking, having a great time. And yet here I was, just crippled by this horrible grief and all the social anxiety and horrible things that came on top of that. So when I had the EFT session, I remember sitting in the car afterwards, and one of the big things that happened to me after my friend had died was that I started to feel like everyone in my life was suddenly just going to drop dead. It was like, I mean, I might sound a little bit dramatic, and those of you who know me personally, I am quite dramatic, you know, that's fine, it's part of my personality. But actually, that was quite genuine for me. I really felt like, having lost somebody so quickly and in such a traumatic fashion, that it felt like it was possible that at any moment people could just be gone, just poof. And so that added to a lot of the stress and anxiety that I was feeling. And guys, if you've got any questions about EFT or anything, just feel free to type away and let me know, and that's what I'm here for. I'm just filling you in on my background so that there's something happening and I'm just not sitting here going. Yeah, I was sitting in the car and I remember thinking about, I actually just tried to think about people committing suicide, which might sound a little bit twisted, but because that had been ever present on my mind at the time, that was kind of the only measure that I had to see how much better I was feeling or how EFT had actually worked for me. Because I didn't really get how sitting in a room and tapping my face was really gonna sort my grief out. It just didn't really make sense to me back then. I'm not sure it even makes sense to me now, if I'm honest, because it's so bizarre how magical it is. It blows my mind still to this day. Hi Ryan. So I sat there trying to think about people killing themselves, because that was what had been previously occupying my brain, and it was the only marker that I had to see whether this weird tapping stuff had actually worked. And to my surprise, the only way I can describe it to people is like I had like a trampoline in my head, and whenever I tried to think of something horrible, hi Ryan, yeah, hey, I would try and think about it and try and like grasp the thought. You know how like if you've ever suffered from anxiety or depression, you might know this feeling where like you get a thought and then that's it. It's like, oh my god, I'm going to fixate on this thought, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it like gains energy, gains momentum, and before you know it, it's like all you can think about, and it's just taking over your brain and your life. Well, that's what it had been like for me previously, and yet I sat in the car trying to make myself think about it, trying to become emotional about this situation I'd been through, and actually it felt like the thoughts were coming in and then hitting the trampoline, the EFT trampoline, and just bouncing straight out again. And that is the best way that I have found to describe the effects of the emotional freedom technique. That's what EFT stands for, emotional freedom technique. So if that sounds too good to be true, I guess there's only really one way you can find out whether it's going to work for you, and that is to have a go. So I always offer 30-minute free sessions for people, because in my mind, if you're going to commit to a process like this, where you're going to open your brain up to somebody, open your heart up to somebody, share things that maybe you've never shared before, I need you to feel like you are 100% comfortable doing that with me, and that you're happy, you know, parting with your hard-earned cash in order to do that. So that's just another reason why I offer a 30-minute free session, because I think if it was me, I'd quite like to have a little freebie, a little taster. So you can find links to that on my website and on my Facebook page. If no one's got any questions, then I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the work that I do with my clients. I'm pretty much, it's either stress and anxiety. I get a lot of people coming to me who are suffering with grief as well, because obviously they've seen my story on my About page, or they know me through somebody and they've heard my story, they've read my articles that I've written for magazines and things. And so I do get a lot of people coming to me that have suffered from grief and things as well. The thing with grief tends to be this idea that we need to, again, it's this idea of like holding on to a pain for some reason. We all have a reason to hold on to our pain, otherwise we wouldn't bother. We would just let it go, right? We're not stupid. We don't want to feel crap. We'd like to all be happy, bouncy bunnies all the time. So one of the reasons that with grief, for example, we might hold on to that feeling is because once we truly allow, there's two things really. There's guilt. A lot of people feel guilty because if that person is no longer here, that person's no longer with us, it's almost like we can feel guilty for living our lives, for enjoying ourselves, for being happy. Like we, for some reason, hold on to this pain, because of guilt. The other really popular reason for holding on to a negative emotion like grief is that once we let go of that feeling, once we no longer have the tangible feeling in our bodies of what it is like to have lost somebody, it's like we truly have to admit that they're gone. Hello. I was gone, but now I'm back again. Hi. A little bit of a connection blip there. Yeah, so with grief, when we decide that we can truly let go of the physical or emotional pain that's related to our grief, it becomes very real that that person is no longer with us in the kind of body and mind sense that we understand. And so that's something that I had to work on for sure, and something that my clients that come to me having suffered a bereavement, or we can hold grief in our bodies and in our hearts for decades. This is not just people think, oh, I should be over it by now, but actually, sometimes even now, I mean, we're a good, say, 6 years on now from when my friend died, and I've done a hell of a lot of work on myself surrounding that grief. But even now, sometimes, I'll have a little blip and I'll think, yikes, they're gone, they're not coming back, I'm never going to see them again. So those things can be difficult, and we just got to keep tapping and working through them. Another thing that people come to me for an awful lot is for weight loss. So with something like weight loss, I tend to work with people over a longer period of time because food is inescapable. We can't live without food. I often think, and this might be controversial, but I have heard it said before, and I agree, that sometimes I think it would be easier dealing with like alcoholism or even heroin addiction, because you don't need alcohol and you don't need heroin in your life, as in physically to survive. You may emotionally need it, psychologically need it, but for your body to actually function, you don't need those things. Food, well, you got to eat. So what are you going to do? I have definitely had a struggle with food, and my relationship with food has been very up and down over the years. At the moment, I can safely say I'm in a really positive space with food at the moment. A lot of that is down to having found an exercise that works for me. So those of you who know me or have ever seen any of my pictures on Instagram or Facebook will know I am obsessed with Thai boxing. So maybe that's just become my new addiction. I'm not sure if it's healthier one or not, but I love it. So because of that, the focus of eating shifted for me, and I started to eat for nutrition, started to eat to train, rather than to just bottle up and stuff down negative emotions. What tends to happen with food is, gosh, there's so much. Food is such a huge topic, which is why I've created the 10-day tapping challenge for weight loss, which if you look above this video today, it's the 17th today, and for the next 24 hours I'm offering you £20 off, so it's just £49 if you sign up in the next 24 hours, and the link should be up above this video as a pinned post on my Facebook page, so feel free to click away, have a little look at that. Hi Carly. So yeah, feel free to take a look at that, because that's only going to be available for the next 24 hours just for you guys, because I love you and I'm generous. I'm feeling generous today, guys. The sun's out. So the 10-day tapping challenge for weight loss was created because I have struggled so immensely with food. In fact, lovely lady Carly, who's just joined us, knew me from many, many years ago, and we used to work together, and we actually went to Weight Watchers together for the very, very first time. I was a Weight Watchers virgin, and she looked fabulous, so I thought, what are you doing? How do you do it? And she took me to Weight Watchers with her, and it was amazing. So thank you for that, Carly. And that was so many years ago. I loved it. But I did fall off the wagon again and again and again. And I realised actually restricting the amount of food that I was eating, or having to obsess about how many points or calories, it just didn't work for me. I'm the kind of person, hands up if you are this kind of person, if you tell me I can't do something or I can't have something, oh, I'm going to want that thing way more. And so on, I think it's day 8. Yeah, on day 8 of the tapping challenge, we actually look at deprivation. Because when somebody says you can't have something, that triggers something quite primal in us, and something that we've probably had programmed into us very, very hi Carly, yeah, I hear you, sister. Yeah, so it's that kind of, it's almost like a stubbornness, like you can almost imagine like your little kid, you stamping their feet and going, but I want more chocolate now. I recently did a healthy eating program just to get myself back on the wagon, and it's not calorie counting, it's just basically about eating food that isn't complete crap. It's just eating healthy food, with the lovely Jennifer Moore, and that was really eye-opening, really interesting, because there was one week where she asked us to just really lower our sugar intake. So not just kind of refined sugars, she actually told us to cut down on fruit and things as well, just as an experiment. I think I ate more sugar that week than I did throughout the entire program, because it was like, I can't have sugar. And I could like feel, as soon as I watched the little video that came with that week of content, I could feel the little gremlins inside me going, panic, panic, I can't have it, I can't have it. That must mean that I've got to eat as much of it as possible. Now, obviously, for everybody, we all have different triggers. As I say, for me, it tends to be things like, oh, you can't have that, and I kind of twitch. But for some people, triggers can actually be seemingly positive. So, for example, someone might say to you about your weight loss, wow, you're looking great, you've lost loads of weight. And that seems like a really good thing. But actually, suddenly people have started noticing you. Suddenly people have started finding you, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but maybe because you're starting to feel more confident in yourself, people are picking up on that vibe, and they're maybe starting to find you attractive, and maybe telling you that they're finding you attractive. And again, that brings up a lot of stuff for people. Suddenly they're having to confront the fact that they've had their weight to hide behind. And even if you don't carry a lot of excess weight, if you believe yourself to have a problem with weight, then that's as good as having a problem with weight, because it's a belief, and you're owned by your beliefs. Your beliefs create your reality. So if you believe you have a problem with your weight, you have a problem with your weight, whether you are a size 0 or a size 20. It doesn't matter. So on day 1 of the tapping challenge for weight loss, we purely look at what I call releasing resistance. And what that means is, I mean, it's a huge subject, and the tapping challenge really only does scrape the surface, but it's just a way to introduce you to the idea that although it's your responsibility to look after yourself and to, you know, to take responsibility for your weight and for what you put in for what you put in your face, it's actually not your fault. And when I found that out, and when I realised that, it was quite a big relief. Yes, it's my responsibility, but I'm not an idiot. I know that I need to exercise more and eat less crap if I want to lose weight and feel healthy. I know that. We all know that. It's, you know, it's common knowledge. We're not stupid. But the problem is, if it was that easy, we'd be doing it. And I used to get really angry at people, you know, inside I'd be like, yeah, I know what I need to do, but I can't. And I could see sometimes my friends getting a little bit frustrated with me, like, well, you know, but I thought you were on that diet thing, or what, you know, what are you eating this week? What aren't you eating this week? Whereas now, I don't have that problem anymore, because I'm not making it a problem anymore, because I don't believe it's a problem anymore. So with releasing resistance on day 1, we're really just looking at any of the reasons why we might want to keep the weight on. And as I say, it's huge. It's a huge, huge topic. So we don't cover it all, but it's just about giving you a little taster, allowing your subconscious to start tuning into what might be going on around food for you. On the second day of the, I feel like doing the 12 days of Christmas here, on the second day of the tapping challenge, la 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 la. On the second day, we talk about feeling safe. What I mean about this is, if we don't feel safe doing something, we're not going to do it. Consciously, cognitively, we might think, yeah, with our rational brain, actually, yeah, I feel totally safe losing weight. What is she talking about? Subconsciously, if you don't feel safe, for whatever reason, maybe it's what I mentioned before, you know, oh my goodness, I'm losing weight and now people are looking at me, and suddenly that makes me feel vulnerable. When that vulnerability kicks in, that's when we start to feel unsafe. And that's when we reach for the packet of biscuits, or in my case, it was always chocolate digestives. I could not get enough of those bad boys. Oh my God. I used to make a cup of tea just so I could eat the biscuits. I didn't even want the cup of tea. I just needed an excuse. I needed something to dunk them in, really. Didn't even bother brewing it. It was just like something, it's just a hot drink to dunk my biscuits in. Whereas now, I don't do that anymore. So that's good. That's a positive step. So yes, on day 2 we look at feeling safe and how we create that in our minds with some really simple mindset techniques. Day 3 is what I call the cliche day, because it is love yourself. I know we're all being told, if you don't love yourself, no one else is going to love you. If you don't love yourself, if you don't love your body and you don't love yourself, then how on earth are you going to look after it? You don't feel inspired or motivated to look after something that you don't care about. So if you're kind of hating yourself all the time, oh, what's this? I make tea just to justify a pack of biscuits. Yes, thank you, Victoria. I'm hoping you can all see the amazing emoji action that's happening in the comments right now. I love it. I love this solidarity of making cups of tea just to dunk biscuits. We've all done it, I think. I'm glad it's not just me. Hi, Ellie. So yeah, so anyway, as I was saying, this day 3 of the tapping challenge for weight loss is about loving yourself. And yes, it's a cliche and we've all been told it, and it's like, yeah, okay, it's another one of those, yeah, I know that, we all know that, and if it was that easy, don't you think we'd all be doing it? But it's very difficult when we've been conditioned, again, I'm going to use the S word, society, when we've been conditioned by society to think that we have to look a certain way, and it's really subconscious, this stuff. We don't even realise it's happening. You know, just these constant streams of pictures that we see of, you know, the perfect six-pack or the perfect arse or whatever, you know. Oh, Ellie, thanks, hi. Yeah, I never really thought that I bought into it. I never thought it affected me. I used to think I was kind of above that. And then I realised, wow, it really does. It really does. And I struggled to find myself an attractive person because I didn't have, at the time when I was a teenager, it was very, very fashionable to be incredibly slim, kind of supermodel skinny, one might say. And, you know, just be very kind of no curves. And any of you who have seen more of me than just my shoulders today will know that I is a curvy lady. And so there's no chance I was ever going to be that shape. You know, I'd have to have taken like some kind of hacking device to my hips and kind of remove bits of bone if I wanted to be that shape. Which would have been a complete waste of time, because then just a few years later it was actually incredibly fashionable to be curvy. So that would have been a big waste of money. Just going to have a little sip of water because I've been talking solidly now for nearly 25 minutes. Forgive me. And relax. Hi. Now, I would try and pronounce your name. Is it Vaisel? Vessel? I'm so sorry. If I haven't pronounced that correctly, please feel free to chastise me in the comments for that. Hello. So yeah, so this whole idea of loving yourself as you are, I know it's not as easy as all that, which is why day 3 of the tapping challenge is so important. I make you, on day 3, I force you to think of 3 things that you actually like in your body. A lot of people struggle with this. A lot of people. In fact, this is the one that I get the most resistance from in my Facebook group that I have for anyone who does the tapping challenge. This is the one that people will put their hand up and say, man, I'm struggling to find one thing, let alone 3 things. So I challenge you guys, tell me in the comments 3 things that you even like about yourself. You know, if we can stretch to love, amen. If we're just at like, you know, I'll take that for now. I'll take that for today. That's okay. But we're always aiming to have the deepest love and compassion for ourselves. Yes, I'm a massive hippie. Okay, so day 4 on the tapping challenge for weight loss is food is my friend. This was a huge one for me. When I was a little kid, I felt like I was such a freak. Ah, thank you, my lovely. That's a very nice comment. Yeah, when I was a little kid, when I was at primary school and even way in secondary school, I felt like such a freak. That was the word. That's what I would have described myself as, a freak. Always felt like I was an outsider. Never felt like, I mean, let's face it, even to this day, I make a living out of tapping people's faces. So I didn't exactly go for a conventional job. I tried. Oh, okay, bye, Ellie. Thank you. So yeah, so I've never been the most conventional soul, and now I have learnt to love that. I have not seen you. Oh, in Turkey. Ah, you're from Turkey. Blimey, we've gone international, everyone. We've hit Turkey. Hello. Yeah, so where was I? Oh, food is my friend. So this is a big thing for me. And I realised this when I was working with a lovely lady called Teresa Fowler. I don't know if she's with us today, but if she is, hello, Teresa. And we were doing some meditations and things, again, around self-love and taking care of yourself, because you want to and because you deserve it, quite frankly. And it dawned on me that when these feelings of, oh my goodness, I can't eat that anymore, you're telling me I can't eat that, I will actually ask my clients now, sometimes weight loss clients, you know, what would you do if I said to you, you can't eat biscuits anymore? I'm not going to let you, you're not allowed to eat biscuits anymore. And the look in people's eyes, you know, I can't physically stop them eating biscuits. I can't come round to you. Well, I could come round to one of your houses because you live very close to me. But, you know, I can't come round to everyone's house and like slap biscuits out of your hand, for the right price, maybe. I would consider it. So any offers, feel free. But, you know, that's not part of the service that I generally offer. But what we need to do is start to find a place within ourselves where we actually want to take care of ourselves, or where we're eating food for the right reasons. Yeah. So if I'm using food to fill a void because I still on some level feel like a freak, or because I feel like, I don't know, if someone makes a comment to me and it triggers some stuff in me about being different, then I'm going to reach for the biscuits. I'm going to reach for them because they never let you down, right? So when this lovely lady, Teresa, was talking to me about all the different changes we were going to be making to my diet at the time, that's what came up for me was, wow, if I can't reach for food, if I can't reach for my favourite sweet treats, well, life, this might sound a little bit dramatic again, but actually it was a very real feeling for me. Like, if I can't reach for these sweet treats anymore, man, I don't know how life is going to feel without that. And in my head, it felt so empty to imagine a life where I couldn't just dive headfirst into a biscuit tin. Not that I would have fitted, obviously. But anyway, so food is my friend. That's a really big one. A lot of weight loss clients struggle. I do hear you. Thank you very much. But it's so easy for me to get distracted and lose my train of thought. My lovely, thank you for all your wonderful comments. I am reading them as I go, which is why I keep getting a little bit sidetracked and lost in what I'm saying. Day 5 on the 10-day tapping challenge. We're nearly there, guys, halfway through. And I'm only going to be with you for another couple of minutes. I check my little watch. So I'm going to whiz through the last few days. Day 5 is believing this can happen. When we're on a weight loss journey and we've done a bajillion different diets and 300 million different exercise routines, and we've eaten as many avocados as we can possibly face and like juiced kale until our poos have turned green, sometimes we can forget that it's actually possible for us to lose weight. And again, it's all about belief. If we believe that we can't lose weight, then we're not going to lose weight. Day 6 is about fear of being seen. Again, this kind of ties into the idea of when we lose weight and then people start to notice. If we're afraid of people seeing us, it doesn't necessarily mean... This is actually a bit deeper than it sounds. It's not just about people looking at you physically with their eyeballs and seeing you as a physical being. It's also about really being seen. So this is something I've had to get very, very comfortable with, because I would like to teach the whole world about EFT, and if I want to do that, then there are going to be people out there who maybe don't like what I say or don't like how I look or whatever, and I have to be resilient about that. And it's the same when we're losing weight. We panic. We think people are going to think we're a fraud. That's quite a big thing that comes up for a lot of my clients, feeling like a fraud. Yeah, it's huge, that one. I don't know why we feel, especially women, I've found, feel like if people really see them, truly see them for who they actually are, that people are going to realise they're not worthy, they're not clever enough, they're not pretty enough, then, you know, all these things, or that they're a bad person. It's really, yeah, that can come in many different forms. So maybe just have a think about that one. What are you afraid of people finding out about you? I did hear you. Yes. Goodbye. Goodbye, my lovely friend. See you soon. Day 7 is about stress and emotional eating. So the 7th day on the tapping challenge for weight loss is about stress, emotional eating. Huge topic. We all suffer stress. It's just about how we deal with it. And on day 7 of the tapping challenge, we've got some lovely little techniques to help you deal with stress, and also to look at which emotions might be triggering your eating habits. For me, I ate when I was happy. I ate when I was sad. I ate when I was excited, when I was celebrating something, if I was commiserating for something. Pretty much if I felt a feeling, I would eat. So if anyone can relate to that, amen, I hear you. But not so much anymore. You know, over time and with all the work that I've done with the EFT and matrix re-imprinting, it just starts to disappear. Day 8, we spoke about earlier, deprivation. How do you feel if you feel deprived? I would also ask people, what other areas of your life do you feel a sense of lack, a sense of deprivation? Do you feel like you're not getting enough love? You're not getting enough attention? You're not getting enough exercise? You're not getting enough time to yourself? You don't have enough freedom? Maybe you don't have enough time with the people you love? What is it that you feel deprived? Which areas of your life do you feel deprived? Yeah, so that will all tie into your eating as well, because if we don't have to deprive ourselves of food, if we feel deprived or lacking in other areas of our life, at least we've got a good old buddy dairy milk to come and have a look. It's been something. Ah, yes, thank you. I am very nice. Yes, you're right. I am lovely. Thank you very much for all your very kind words down there in the comments. Day 9, resistance to exercise. Huge. So many people think they're too fat to go to the gym. The only way you are going to lose that weight is to start moving your body. We can do all the clean eating and everything that we want in the world, and obviously we will see results physically, but unless we're exercising, it's going to be a pretty tough slog, and it's also going to get quite boring. And exercise releases endorphins, which, as we know, are delicious, more delicious than food, honest, I promise. Or maybe not more delicious than cake. I can't promise that. But once we get over our resistance to exercise and we start realising maybe just because we weren't the fastest kid in the egg and spoon race on sports day doesn't mean that we can't enjoy other kinds of exercise, because we're a grown-up now. And trust me, you would be surprised how many people have a negative sports day memory that we end up at, which convinced them as a kid that they just weren't good at sports, and so therefore for their whole lives they've just decided they're just a person who doesn't exercise. So again, just have a think about, if you're somebody who thinks they should be doing more exercise but doesn't know even how to start, where to start, or what they enjoy, and has got this belief that actually I don't do exercise. Why might that be? When did you learn that? And the last day of the tapping challenge for weight loss is about just looking forward. So ask yourself, if you had a future you, this perfect future you who looks exactly how you want to look, feels exactly how you want to feel, how far away is that person from where you are now physically? If you imagine them, are they like way over there? Can you even see them? Can you even imagine this person? And so we look at, on the 10th day, we look at how to create this person and how to almost bring them closer, so that we can start to believe, again, there's that word, the B word, I love it. Once we've got the belief that we can be that person, we can start to look at ways to move towards becoming them. Okay, so I have talked to you now solidly for half an hour. I would have answered questions, but I didn't get any. But thank you so much for the lovely people who floated in for a few minutes or stayed with me throughout the whole journey. It's been a real pleasure. I will be doing another one of these live broadcasts again next month. So like my Facebook page, GKnoll EFT. You can go onto my website, www.georginaknoll.com, and sign up to my newsletter. And when you do that, you also get access to the free 3-day mini tapping challenge for weight loss, to give you a little taster of what the full package is all about. If you'd like to sign up for the 10-day package, now that you've heard so much about it and my life, I feel like we've become firm friends now, all of us. So if you'd like to go and have a look at that, you can click on the link that is above this video, pinned to the top of my Facebook page. Please just take a look. It's got all the information there. By clicking the link, you're not automatically buying it. It takes you to an information page so you can read more about it and buy it from there, should you choose to. It is a mere £49, so it's super duper cheap for the next 24 hours. Take advantage of that offer, because after that it's going to go back up to £69. Didn't choose that number for any other reason, okay, before I get any smutty comments. Thank you very much. So it's been an absolute pleasure, and if you've got any other questions, feel free to comment below this video on my Facebook page and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have a fabulous rest of the weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.